Well, I tell you what, it's stinking hot in Marling today, but it won't be long before the nights have cooled enough for frosts to become a problem again. Back in 2008, frost damage cost Australian grain growers an estimated $109 million, and currently GRDC is funding frost research projects in Queensland, South Australia and here in WA. Jane Drinkwater reports on the progress of trial work being done in one of this state's most frost-prone regions, Brookton, southeast of Perth.
2 years ago we probably lost 300,000 plus, and that's profit. That's all taxable profit off the top. It's the icing on the cake, and in a short hour or so in the morning it was just gone.
Anna Butcher knows all too well the swift blow a severe frost can bring.
Unfortunately, in this area, when we get frost in late September, we've put all our inputs into our crop, all our fertiliser, all our chemicals and everything else, and then you get a frost, and sometimes in one morning, in half an hour, you've lost all your potential.
And the impact can be more than just lost income from damaged crop.
Not only is it a financial blow, but it's a psychological blow to your confidence, and low confidence usually leads to poor decisions.
Add in the lost potential from employing strategies to limit frost risk, such as delayed planting or sowing less profitable frost-tolerant crops, and what would normally be a blessing, a great season without frost, spells lost opportunity and reduced profit. No matter how you look at it, managing for frost is a stressful guessing game with a lot at stake. Little wonder then that GRDC is allocating funds towards finding solutions. Here in Western Australia, Ben Bidolph, in collaboration with teams in South Australia and Queensland, is working on a grassroots approach to winning the fight against frost.
We actually want to confirm that there is genetic variation for frost tolerance in the field. Once we've got that confirmation, we can then try and breed for it and try and make genetic improvement.
The breeding of varieties with a better tolerance to frost is the ultimate goal, but in order to get to that point, researchers need to fill in the gaps in their knowledge of how different frost events affect different cereals.
What we definitely do need to understand is actually what is going on in the paddock under frosting conditions, and that better understanding of that, which we'll get from our weather station and our comparisons of these varieties which perform differently under frost, then we can make some informed decisions about where industry needs to go in terms of either genetic improvement for frost tolerance or agronomic improvement for frost tolerance.
The site's weather station measures wind, air temperature, moisture, dew, radiant heat gained and lost from the canopy, as well as the timing, duration and severity of each frost, while Ben measures how these conditions affect the 9 barley and 3 wheat varieties used in the trial.
If we'd had a frost event last night, we'd look at the temperature from this thermocouple and try and correlate that with the level of damage that the canopy has experienced. And this here is a leaf wetness sensor, and essentially it measures when the dew forms on the leaves and also when that dew turns into ice when you get a frost.
3 years into the 4-year trial and results are showing promise.
We've got some reasonable data so far, which does indicate that there is genetic variation for frost tolerance in both wheat and barley. The future will really be about trying to work on that further and exploit that variation in breeding programs. This plant here, we've tagged it, and it was frosted about 3 weeks ago when it was going through flowering. And if we open up the florets here, we should be finding fully formed grain by now. Essentially there's nothing in there, so the whole head has been sterilised from the frost. And yeah, there's only one grain in that whole head, so pretty much 95% sterility.
The trial is providing researchers with valuable insights. In addition to flowering time, it seems there may be an earlier stage when crops are also vulnerable.
We've got some preliminary results which indicate that, yeah, it does appear that, there's a stage before that, before actual flowering, when the crop is also susceptible to frost, which has largely been ignored in previous research in the area.
Results have also indicated it's not only temperatures below zero that can lead to damage.
Here we rarely ever get to that lower temperature, but we still get very high levels of damage, and we think that's due to the cumulative effects of just low temperatures over a week, and we think that's actually having a reasonable amount of damage without actually freezing the plants.
Identifying how and why some varieties are more frost tolerant than others will lead to solutions down the track. And in the meantime,
there are a few management practices which aim to try and improve, or reduce the susceptibility to frost of the crop. So things like delving for clay in the subsoil and changing row orientation they can have a minimal impact and help in some situations.
Research such as this West Australian project is one step along the road towards reducing the impact of frost in all cropping regions. It could take a decade or more before R&D like this culminates in adapted frost-tolerant varieties being commercially available. But with frost such a devastating and costly problem, GRDC knows it's worth the investment, and growers like Anna Butcher agree.
That growers all throughout Western Australia in areas that are frost-prone would be absolutely ecstatic if they could find a choice of varieties that they could grow that would be profitable and frost-resistant, where they could achieve the yields that they'd fertilised and worked towards. I think there'd be a lot of very, very happy growers.